What is going on, guys? I am Badass Reviewer and I'm back with another review. This time I'm taking a look at the Play Arts Kai Devil May Cry 3 Dante figure. This is probably one of my favorite figures that I own, and I gotta say it is pretty awesome, and I would highly recommend you pick him up because he's actually pretty cheap in terms of Play Arts figures. So I would definitely check him out if you're a fan of Devil May Cry or just awesome Play Arts Kai figures in general, because he's awesome. Really catches the likeness of how he looks in the video game. Very awesome video game at that. He's probably one of my favorite video game characters of all time. Can't really think of anybody else that could be just as cool as this guy. He is pretty awesome. And that really transfers over nicely into this figure, which is pretty tall and it's fully articulated, got tons of detail. It's awesome. I would highly recommend you pick him up. But let's take a look. I don't know where to start because there's just so much. Let's talk about his flaws, I guess, because that's something kind of minor. Okay, so on the back he has a little hole through his jacket which goes through his back where you're supposed to peg in Rebellion. Now the problem is the jacket is kind of free floating from his torso area. So if the jacket moves outward from his back, it'll rip the sword out. So really, when you try to have him with his sword in his back, you gotta kind of position it to where he's not gonna move or anything, because otherwise if you move him around with it in, it's gonna fall out. So that kind of sucks. The next thing, and it's more of a minor gripe, is just his face sculpt. Like, I don't think he looks too much like how he's supposed to, and I know it's not like they don't make their figures super accurate to like face sculpt wise. Well, maybe they do. I mean, I thought the Batman one was pretty close, but this one looks like kind of an emo boy band kind of guy. I mean, I like the hair and all, but the face, I don't know, something about the face is just kind of weird. Like, I don't know. I think it could have been better. It's not bad, but he just kind of looks like a 15-year-old emo kid or something. So I don't know. I think the face just makes him look a little too young. So yeah, it kind of sucks. Even though he's pretty young at this point in time. This is like when he first started out. But usually his hair kind of covers up his face, and I have him pointing down for some reason all the time. I just think he looks cool that way. But it's still pretty nice. So let's go over detail. His hair is pretty nicely sculpted and painted. Nice silvery white. It's pretty awesome. It's got some nice shading going on throughout it. Pretty awesome. His face, it's got that really like glossy looking paint that they do on their figures. And his eye, like there's a bunch of like dark shading around his eyes, which I guess is pretty cool because it seems like it probably is from his hair, you know, covering up the shade and all that. That's pretty cool. Other than that, pretty nice shading overall. But what's weird is they don't actually, like, it doesn't seem like there's that much like glossy kind of paint on his torso area. And man, he's got the biggest freaking pecs I've ever seen, because he's got like his whole upper body, and then he's got this six-pack going on, which is just insane. And it's really nicely sculpted. I mean, just really awesome. This whole part's sculpted on his little strap for his coat. Nice shading going throughout it. It's really just awesome. And they even sculpted in his belly button, which is a nice touch. And then on his pants here, this is actually a free-floating piece, so it's just kind of like a soft rubbery plastic. They painted the belt and the zipper, which is awesome. Come up to his jacket, just amazing. It's just completely detailed, painted and shaded. Everything on it is really awesome. They sculpted on these little studs here that are on his jacket. He's got the nice buckles on his holsters, which are really nice. He's got this awesome the little buckle for his coat to hang together, which is also really cool. Just a lot of detail was put into this, and it's a really nice figure, and it's really surprising this figure doesn't go for more. I know the Devil May Cry 4 Dante goes for a lot more, which I don't see why, because it's like, I guess it's still a pretty awesome figure, but at the same time, it's like you don't even get as many accessories as this guy does, even though he doesn't really have much more. We'll get into that in a second. But then we get down to his legs, and I gotta say, he's got pretty long legs. I think his legs are really tall compared to the rest of them. I don't know why, but it's kind of strange, but dang, he's a tall guy. But his pants are nicely sculpted and shaded and stuff, so that's really cool. And then we get down to his boots. Really looks awesome. It's got how it looks like it's unzipped and open, so he can put his feet in and all that jazz. Got the nice buckling and painting and all that, nice shading. Really awesome. I wouldn't mind owning a pair of boots like that. I would seriously wear a pair of boots like that. No joke. Anyways, and then let's go over detail on his guns. I guess I should mention his hands too. His hands are got the sculpted on gloves, so that's really awesome. But let's take a look at the guns. Ebony and ivory. They're both the same. Well, at least I believe they are. If I can get it out of his hand, he's got a kung fu grip over here. So we got ebony and ivory here. It has ebony and ivory, not even on camera, painted on the side. And some people are like, well, it's supposed to have one is ebony and one's ivory. Well, I'm pretty sure both of them say this in the game. But either way, why does it matter? It still says ebony and ivory. They could have not had it. But it's really cool. I personally like the black one a little bit more just because it's darker. I don't know, I think it looks cooler. But they are pretty much the same gun. A little bit. I mean, they look the same, but when you pull this thing here is different from this one over here. I can't think of the name right now, but it's whatever you do to load the chamber or whatever. So yeah, they are pretty much the same thing except for the pullback for the pin or whatever. So they are pretty nice, and they fit into his holsters very nicely. So that way you can put them there if you don't want to hold them. And then his other accessory is Navon, which I don't know, I kind of wish they would have came with like the Cerberus, or maybe just not come with this at all and come with like the shotgun or something, because really this thing is just a pain in the butt for him to hold. And honestly, I never really used this that much. I mean, I kind of did the last time I played this game. I mean, it's really nicely detailed and it folds out to be like a scythe and all that, but other than that, I mean, he can't hold this very well. And I don't know, I would have preferred like a different weapon, but whatever, I guess we could have not gotten it, but still really nice looking. Like I said, he doesn't hold it very well, and I'm not going to really try, but I mean, if you can get it just right, I think you have to like set it on his leg and stuff, because otherwise it just falls out, because he doesn't really hold it. Another accessory he comes with is this open palm hand, which you can use for like when he's holding his sword. But you can't hold the sword with this hand because obviously it's not closed, so it's like doesn't do anything. And then finally, for the ladies, we have the very nice and long Rebellion sword, which kind of sucks because it seems like there's this huge gap kind of like right here where this part meets the blade, and then this doesn't really seem lined up. So and then there's one other problem on mine. The back of his like boot thing here is like ripped, so it's not really attached. And I was gonna just, you know, because I got this off Amazon, so I was gonna return it, but then a bunch of other crap happened. So then I was just like, okay, this is like on my least priority list, and so I just said forget it. Anyways, he does hold Rebellion really nice, but what I noticed is for some reason when I put it in this hand, it made his hand like stay open, whereas this hand it didn't. So I'd be careful of that, but it's your preference if you want him, how you want him to hold it. So just be careful of that. And Rebellion is pretty nicely sculpted as well, which I think it's awesome. And somehow I'm already in 9 minutes, and I feel like I've not said nothing important, so what the hell. Anyways, let's go over articulation. His head is not fully rotational, so you can get a ton of articulation. He can't really look up too much, but that's okay. He does look down. He doesn't have a neck joint. His neck joint is sculpted for obvious reasons because it's gonna look weird. But then upper part of this torso here rotates, so that way you can get all that awesome rotation. And then he's got like this ab or this waist rotation down here, so you can get tons of rotation out of him. His arms can go 360 degrees. They can go out that far, but that's about it. So they go in and out. They have the butterfly joint, so his arms can like go out a little bit more, which gives him a lot of posability. Rotates at the bicep here. Single jointed ball pegged elbows, which can also rotate down here if you want to. Well, it's supposed to. Yeah, it does, but it's pretty tight, so I'd be really careful when you do that. But it rotates, and then his hands are on double ball pegs, so they can rotate in and out like this, and then if you twist it and such, it just gets a whole lot of articulation. What else is really cool is the back of his jacket here, these two little flaps. They can actually be pulled out, and they're on ratchet joints and also ball pegs, so that way if you want him to look like his jacket's windswept or something like that, you can do that, which is really awesome. And then he's got ratcheted legs, probably ball pegs as well. I'm not sure what kind of joint that is, but they ratchet and they go out, they go in, they go all over the place, so that's really cool. Double jointed knees, which kind of look ugly depending on how you bend it. And then he rotates at the boot. His foot goes down. You can get him into like, actually I don't think you can get an ankle pivot out of him, but his toe pivots to the side like this, so that helps out a lot when you're trying to pose him in like a crazy like crouching slash move. So anyways, overall this is an awesome figure. I would highly recommend you pick him up. He's only like 50 bucks on Amazon right now, and he might have gone up depending if anybody's actually bought any since then. But I would definitely check it out if you don't have this guy, and if you've been thinking about getting this guy, I would highly recommend it. So you're going to be spending about 50 to 100 bucks, somewhere in that line. So if you can find them cheap, definitely pick them up. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed my review. Stay tuned for more video reviews and stuff like that. So please rate, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later.